Welcome to Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation possible. You will get to hear from CSIA system integrators and industry partners to get a better understanding of how they help their clients solve process challenges and how they've earned success in their careers. Along the way, we will touch on system integration best practices, technology, trends, and challenges. Whether you are a manufacturer, end user, supplier, or system integrator, you will enjoy the insights these industry professionals bring to this podcast. Let's get started. Hi, my name is Lisa Richter, the host of Talking Industrial Automation, a podcast where you get to know the people who make modern industrial automation and processing possible. In today's episode, we're talking industrial automation with Jim Mansfield, who is a senior manager with Matrix Technologies in its Manufacturing Systems and Solutions division. Jim joined Matrix in the middle of last year and has more than 30 years of experience leading manufacturing and operational transformation teams within the food and beverage, discrete manufacturing, metals and mining, and consumer products industries. His expertise is in helping his clients navigate the operational excellence journey by enabling the connected plant and enterprise. Jim, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
Let's start at the beginning. Why did you choose a career in control system integration?
It's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it. It actually chose me. Coming out of the military some 30 years ago, I let the military pay for my scholastics in accounting with a minor in business law with the thought of going on to become an attorney. And I took a position as an accounting manager with a local accounting firm and realized that I absolutely hated it. So another position, just got a phone call from a friend of mine that owned an organization in the manufacturing industry. And he was looking for a comptroller. So I thought, well, yeah, at least I can learn something new. So I took that position. And come to find out, it took me about 10 hours a week to actually do all that was required of this small company. So I started taking the other 30 hours and walked back on the plant floor. And this company designed and built custom machines. So I was learned how to program my first PLC and let the smoke out of 2 or 3 cabinets on the floor and failed a bunch and realized that, man, this stuff's fun. And the owner came to me and asked me if I could get out and go potentially sell it. So did a lot in the tier 1, tier 2 automotive industry, specialty chemical industry, started understanding the process and the rest, as they say, is history. The last 30 years has just been a whirlwind of advancing technologies, and I've really enjoyed the ride.
How do you describe to lay people what you do?
Today, it's a lot different than when I first started. I would say within the last 15 years, my subject matter expertise has really been around that manufacturing execution system, operations management, the industrial Internet of Things. So as somebody says, well, what do you do for an organization? Well, I, more times than not, am helping the C-suite understand the vision of what's possible in an operational transformation. Helping them define business goals, initiatives, needs that they need to solve, and then helping them do so through the implementation of technology. And at the end of the day, staying with those companies long term as a consultant to continue to work on continuous improvement.
Share a little bit of a history about how Matrix Technologies began and how the company has evolved in the industry.
And again, I'm 6 months new, so you'll have to bear with me and hope my boss, our CEO, doesn't listen to this and think I've lost my mind. But we just celebrated our 40th year, which is exciting. The company started back in 1980 as a multidisciplined engineering firm out of located in a suburb of Toledo, Ohio. So mechanical, electrical, process engineering, et cetera. The first 10 years or so were really more about getting the right people on board with Matrix, growing that engineering discipline, developing key relationships with local industrial manufacturers, and with the goal of becoming the area's premier engineering firm, and very quickly rose to that. I think anybody listening to this understands in that late 80s and into the 90s, the huge transformation of industrial automation is where we began our journey into automation and process controls. And from there, we were growing at such a rapid pace, built our facilities in a new building in Maumee, Ohio, opened our first regional offices in Indiana in and around that time frame. I think we ended up acquiring a regional competitor, and at that point became ISO certified. We were fortunate during those same time frames to become one of the founding members for the CSIA, and we're actually one of the first organizations to become certified. Fast forward to today, hundreds of people, hundreds of professionals, 7 locations geographically across the United States, supporting a wide breadth of markets and submarkets.
How many countries are you in, and how much of your business is repeat?
Oh, wow. I think to date, we have executed work in over 45 countries. And that's really one of the premier things with Matrix. One of the things that I think we're most proud of is that over 85% of our business is repeat today.
What challenges are your customers facing right now?
Boy, if you'd asked me this a year ago, it would have been a whole different set of answers. But, we have all had to deal with what I'll call these unprecedented times with the COVID-19. As I'm having discussions with the C-suite in the food and beverage industry and specialty chemical, metals, mining, pick your flavor, I think the top 3 or 4 there are going to be supply chain disruption, resource management constraints. Half your team ends up with COVID and leaves. How do you replace them? What do you do there, right? The negative effects on workforce reductions has been huge because it's affecting productivity, right? And I think another big one is really the lack of information to make good decisions. Companies are investing more heavily in integrating their facilities, getting a better look at inventory management, warehouse management systems, the business intelligence and business analytics that are available there to really drive good decision making.
Like cybersecurity concerns or anything along those lines?
Yeah, cybersecurity it always has been big, always will be big, and something that we need to be sure and be aware of deeply as we're engaging our clients. I think the help there, though, is the convergence of the IT organizations and the OT organizations, or the operational technology and transformation sides. The convergence of those two is really opening up that dialogue. As we go through discoveries, we want to make sure that we have representation from both organizations to understand what they're currently doing in today's environment. Fortunate in that our technology partners have kept that at top of tier as far as paying attention to it, advancing it. What can they do to make sure that their software technology stacks are taken care of? Network architectures and infrastructures are designed and developed in a manner where who needs the data has access to the data when and where they need it, and very securely.
How are they doing with their recovery plans? What are you hearing about that?
We're seeing probably through Q3 of last year, companies really trying to hold back a little bit, not really quite sure where to spend their dollars moving forward. I think most industries right now are looking to try to ramp production back up. So it's understanding what are the technologies that they can deploy today that will help giving them the visibility to increase operational efficiency, to the whole OEE discussion, right, of overall equipment effectiveness, downtime analytics, reducing maintenance cost, increasing first pass yield, making sure that new labor forces are coming in, and labor management initiatives. I think those are probably the top ones right now.
Well, we're doing it. We're rolling out all the new value CSIA has for system integrators and vendor partners this year. If you haven't heard, we've completely revamped our content delivery strategy for 2021 to include weekly virtual events that will continue the CSIA tradition of knowledge sharing, community building, and networking, but also capitalize on the opportunities and innovation digital delivery offers. The best part is, this online strategy means anyone from your company, from the newbies to the seasoned pros, will have access to education and content that would have normally been out of reach. Don't worry, we still have all the other goodies that come with CSIA membership, including the highly valued best practices, professional services discounts, and benchmarking, training, and a completely revamped marketing toolbox. All this with no dues increase over 2020. To learn more, visit www.controlsys.org/join-2021. Let's do this. How has Matrix Technologies changed in the past year, and what do you expect for your company in the next 12 to 24 months?
I think the biggest change that we have seen over the last little bit is really around a deeper customer-focused culture. We have developed and have launched over the last year or so what we call the Matrix Way. These are a series of 31 fundamentals that make up how our company is wound, what we do, how we treat our people internally, and how we treat our customers. And then you've got to be able to engage the whole company around that. So we literally will pick one of them, and the entire week, every meeting is started off with safety and those fundamentals, whether it's internal or whether it's customer facing. It's fairly simple in that if you want to develop a partnership with your clientele, you got to take time to develop deep relationships. Those relationships have to be built on trust. By reviewing these fundamentals, they quickly begin to understand that this is not just words. This is how our company is. This is how we've been successful and how you can expect to deal with this. I won't go through a ton of them, but a couple of them I'll throw out there is simply do the right thing always. Deliver legendary service. Be an absolute fanatic about response time. Listen generously, speak straight, be grossly transparent. Make a difference every day that you engage a client. It may not even be around a specific project, but when you're dealing with the level and the many levels that we have, when we engage, we need to bring something of value there. And then on anything that we deliver, make quality personal, internalize it, own it. I would like to think that if you saw these things in your organization, I got to believe that you're going to say, you know what, this is a company that we want to deal with, that we want to work with.
What advice would you give to a prospective customer researching system integrators, and how should a client go about choosing a system integrator?
There's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of really good ones out there. I think the first thing I would do is probably push them to an article that was written by, I was trying to think who was it, Robert Lowe. I think he was a recent or maybe even current executive director for the CSIA. It's called 10 Reasons Why Systems Integration is Important. Anybody just hop online, Google it, and you'll see what it is. It's not a big read, it's 14 pages, but really dives down into to helping the client be able to ask the right questions of a systems integrator when they're interviewing them. Pay attention, close attention to that systems integrator that you're talking with, their culture. If your cultures don't align, run away. It's just not going to fit. You're going to run into problems and issues. I'll lead back to the CSIA and hop on the Find an Integrator tab on the website through the CSIA. Take advantage of communities. Ask a lot of questions and answers within that community. I think would be very instrumental. And look for integrators that can help you beyond your current needs. If they're not helping you form that long-term vision of where you can be. For us, it is understanding current state, understanding future state, and the in-between pieces there is a journey. Make sure that SI is in with you for the long haul, because operational transformation is not for the faint of heart. It is time-consuming, and you've got to have a partner in which to trust. Often we'll tell my client that you've asked me to think out of the box, and there's not a box. What box? Remove the box from the equation. So I think the systems integrator that realizes there's not a box, and you need to be able to think, to be innovative in the way in which you approach your clients, I think is paramount to success. I guess the technology stacks that are used are the last piece. The technology exists to solve a problem, understanding they're all simply enabling technologies, right? It's the different pieces, whether it's OEE or labor management or track and trace, quality, all those pieces. Just make sure your SI is capable of understanding that anything they do for you is going to require change. So change management, change adoption, change acceleration. These are the key words that you ought to be hearing of an SI that's willing to hang with you during that time. And then I think the best thing that the client can do in preparation is take the time to really detail out your project, understand the business reasons why you're wanting to do something, and be able to throw those business reasons out to your systems integrators, because that's where they're going to want to start. And if they come in immediately start talking about a technology stack and they can solve all the world problems, put on the brakes.
And I just want to go back to your comment about Rob Lowe. He was a very popular executive director of the association for a number of years. Right. He's currently not involved. And I mentioned that because my boss is the CEO. And I don't want him listening to this podcast. And I didn't let everybody know that Jose Rivera is the CEO of the CSIA right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I wasn't sure on the C-suite of the CSIA, so I apologize if I led us down a path there. But that article, great article. Please go back and get a chance. Make sure the listeners read that. Go read it.
A couple of quick stats from the 2021 State of Marketing to Engineers report. 1. Online content supports over 50% of the buyer's journey, and that number jumps to 70% in the under 45 crowd. 2. 82% of engineers find value in virtual events. What does that mean for you? Well, if you want to tap into this digital ecosystem, CSIA has you covered with multiple opportunities to sponsor our virtual events throughout 2021. Plus, we've launched new digital advertising and sponsored content products to help you reach the exclusive system integrator audience. Interested in learning more? Visit www.controlsys.org/2021 opportunities. Oh, and one last piece of advice. Don't dawdle. Inventory is limited, and I'd hate to see you miss out. What makes Matrix Technologies optimistic about the future of the automation systems industry?
Well, the piece that you brought up before around our repeat business, we're optimistic again because 85 to 87% of our business is repeat. These clients keep coming back to us. And we've reached what I like to call a trusted advisor status with many of them. They come to us and ask us how they should best spend their next year's budget to solve their business goals and needs. And that's the same principle. These clients are struggling every day with recovering from this horrible bug. And I believe we're uniquely positioned in simply knowing their businesses as well as we do to assist those clients in developing a recovery strategy and then execution throughout our entire disciplines to help them reach their goals, solve their most painful points, whether that's in the warehouse or at the production line or all the way through integration for that much needed business analytics and business intelligence that's needed today.
Why did Matrix Technologies become a member of CSIA?
Tongue in cheek, we were one of the founding members, so it kind of made sense there.
I think the kids on YouTube called OG, Original Gang.
Yeah, we were a member of the OG. There we go. So we were instrumental, I think, in early development of those standards and the certification processes, and had quite a bit of input. It only made sense for us to be one of the first to go through it, and have done so time and time again. But at the end of the day, anyone can truly call themselves an engineer, or we work at an engineering firm. But what does that mean? A company can also do the same thing as from a systems integration standpoint. Attend some classes, learn how to do some PLC, and you're an SI, right? Start thinking about the DCS, the PLC, the PAC, to become proficient in database and historian, being able to provide deep standards around that, around how a project is executed, how it's project managed. These are things that truly are best practices. It must be captured. And quite frankly, you should be certified. If your organization is interviewing systems integrators that are not CSIA certified, they better at least be on the journey to be heading in that direction.
If you couldn't work within the system integrator community, what career would you choose instead?
That's tough. Maybe go collect merit badges at Home Depot or a greeter at Walmart.
I could see you doing that. You'd be really good at it.
I don't know. I think it would have to be something in the consulting side of things. It's really hard to find something that can hold your passion for 30 plus years. It's something I eat, sleep, and breathe every day. I love it. I really couldn't imagine doing anything else. Maybe I would fall back into my accounting and legal profession, but that would be a struggle for me. I'm too close to retirement at this point, Lisa.
I get you.
I'm hanging tight.
Then you can do your Walmart greeter job in retirement.
Hey, yep, there we go. Absolutely.
What's the best advice you could give your younger self just getting started?
Run away. Don't do it. Finish your law degree. Become an accountant. Hang on to it, etc. Again, love what you do every day, and you never work a day in your life, right? So I'd likely be in a position of leadership at a very successful SI company. I think I'd tell that person to understand earlier. It's okay to fail, right? I often tell people I've been very successful in my career because I'm a collection of failures I don't repeat, and I surround myself with people that are smarter than I am. I would tell them to read more, take more chances, take some risks, take every day of vacation that was ever offered to you. You need it. You got to unwind. You got to reset. Hit the reset button. I would have taken a lot more advice that I was given by my peers. I would say another big reason is I can honestly say I've not had one leader coming through that hasn't taught me something of resounding importance to my career path. So listen, be intent on listening. I'm in a process of writing a book. I would tell them to start writing it 10 years earlier so we'd be done by now and actually collecting royalties from the book and not having to do what we're doing every day, right? Make sure that you're focused on others. Your success will come by helping others succeed. And don't forget, it really should be called a life-work balance and not a work-life balance, right? We work to live. We don't live to work. Take time. Be with your family. Be with your friends. Do the things you like to do. Work will be there.
So you mentioned you're writing a book. So I have to ask, what's the book about?
Oh, awesome. It is, I'm still toying with the title, but I guess to sub it, it's So You Want to Be in Industrial Sales, What Were You Thinking? And the first 7 chapters are really wrapped around all the reasons you should run away from this and you shouldn't do it. You eat alone, you sleep alone, you're on the road all the time, you're in hotels, just this whole myriad of stories and lists. And if you can make it through the first 7 chapters, the next 7 are all the best practices that I have learned over the last 30 plus years that a young engineer coming out of college could deploy and hopefully keep him from failing as much or keep him from bumping his or her head as much during the journey, because it is a journey.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Talking Industrial Automation. If you're interested in learning more about Jim Mansfield or Matrix Technologies, you can find them on the Industrial Automation Exchange at www.CSIAexchange.com. Thanks for listening, and thank you, Jim, for joining me today.
Lisa, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also help others find us by leaving a 5-star review and sharing your favorite episodes with colleagues. Thanks for listening to the Talking Industrial Automation podcast. Thanks also to bensound.com and Wistia for the music bumpers. Until next time.